All right, well, let's dive into this. Has anybody ever heard of Carol Dweck?
No.
Okay, of course. It's a fun name. Gotta love that. Probably a tough junior high right there. But Carol Dweck, professor at Stanford University, has done extensive research and has been published in a number of different publications, and Harvard Business Review, Forbes magazine, many different publications, as well as she has written a book on this thing called the learning mindset. And what she has found in her research is that 10% of the population has a learning mindset. 10%. The other 90% of the population will only learn if you force them. Meaning, they will only learn if you threaten them or if you manipulate them. I'll give you more money if you do that. Okay, I'll go. You know, you guys probably know of people, nobody in here, but you know of people that they'll go on a trip to Vegas to go to this workshop. They're not going to learn a thing, but they're going to go on the trip because it's to Vegas. You know, they're going to come back. Oh, how's life different now? Well,
I've been to Vegas.
I've been to Vegas. You know, what I learned in Vegas stayed in Vegas, type of thing. You know, it's not a change, but we'll do it if somebody's going to give us something that we value for it, or if somebody's going to take away something of value. And I proved this to myself. I was going, oh man, I don't know, 90% really? I mean, no, there's got to be more than that. I proved it to myself. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I had about 30 employees, and I gave them an assignment. I said, I want you to read this book. Did I tell you this? I got a book I want you to read. In fact, if you read the book, I will give you $50 if you'll read the book. All right? 30 employees. How many of the employees how many do you think actually read the book when I told them I would give them $50 if they read it? How many? 12? Very good.
5.
5? Man, you went lower than the 12. Okay, you're thinking percentages. So you're doing the math, and you said 5. 5 is the answer. How many do you think? 10. Okay. You guys are really close. 0. Nobody.
What?
Nobody read the book.
Well, how big was
0.
the book?
How big was the book? It was like 200 pages.
I would have done that for $50.
Oh, see, I don't know. See, that's what $50. That'll be awesome. That'll be great. I'll do it. Nobody read the book.
Really? For $50?
I know. You would think. Now, what do you think the reason was why they didn't read? Do you think that they said, yeah, I thought about reading it, but then I thought it was a stupid idea, so I didn't do it?
No.
Why didn't they read it?
You never set a time to do it.
You just didn't have time.
Didn't have time. Didn't have time.
It's a real life struggle.
Exactly. Didn't have
Playing on
time.
that Candy Crush on their phones.
Exactly. Thank you very much. They just didn't have time. Didn't have time to do it. So the $50 wasn't enough incentive to get them to read the book. You know? Now again, I'll give you $1,000. Someone's probably going to read the book. You know, because that incentive is going to get to a point where it becomes valuable to them. As opposed to other people who you would think somebody in the group would have read the book just because I recommended the book. Forget the $50, I'm just reading.
Yeah.
Because I'm a learner, you know. Being a school teacher for 15 years, that fits, about 10%. About 10% of the class are learners. Whether I'm a good teacher or a bad teacher, this student is going to learn.
Yeah.
You know. The rest of them, I'm going to be dragging them through the entire year to get them to learn something. Gosh. Did you bring your stuff today? No, I forgot the stuff. You know? And then unfortunately, when we learn how to learn, we're going to school. And really what we learn, how we learn how to learn is to prepare for the test.
Yeah.
And so if there's no test, then I don't need to learn. Again, people only learn if you force them. What forces students to learn? You got a test tomorrow. Even if I say you got a test next week, who cares? Tell me the night before. Because that's really when I'm going to look. Does that make sense? So, it's really interesting. So what we want to do is we want to be willing to step into the 10%. Now again, when I ask people, all right, and I've done this with many groups, how many of you guys feel like you're part of the 10%? Raise your hand. Let's do it here. How many of you guys feel like you're part of the 10%? Okay, very nice, because usually like 80% of the group raises their hand. you know? And I'm able to say, okay, just so you know, most of you are lying. Most of you are not lying. And I go, so here, tell me when the last time was that you read a development book. Just for yourself, you read a development book. Whether it's personal development, business development, something like that, and all of a sudden people are like taking their hands down. They like the idea of learning, so they think they are self-learners. But they don't pursue learning. Okay? So just to toss that out to you. So again, the idea here is that we need to begin to cultivate a learning mindset. And I've got here the second piece, the second graphic down at the bottom. You've got the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Most humans have a fixed mindset. And they move through their life, and life has to fit into their box of mindset. And as we talked about through the whole personal development piece, we find out pretty quick that it's hard to get my life to fit into that box. And if we're not careful, that's what creates all the pressure. That's what creates all the stress and all the anxiety, is because all of a sudden things are happening that don't go into my box. And so what I have to do is begin to manipulate situations so they fit in my box. Does that make sense? And when I say manipulate situations, I mean that we need to get all dramatic. We need to get all emotional to get people to do things so they fit in the box. And if you're not careful, I'm sure each of you guys have had people in your life that we've talked about that have tried to manipulate you to get you to fit into their box because they had a fixed mindset. And even though you're going, no, 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 they get bigger and bigger and bigger to try to force you, or they get smaller and smaller and smaller to try to manipulate you. You know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah.
You know?
I've been having that struggle with my little brother really badly. He's a big manipulator.
Oh, yeah.
And he does it through guilt.
Yeah.
Like trying to make you seem like
Little.
you're the bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he does it to my mom.
Classic.
And my mom just caves.
Yeah.
I finally told him the other day, I was like, you're not going to manipulate me. You're not going to guilt trip me into getting me to do what you want me to
Yeah.
do. It was like, you need to be responsible for your actions. You need to be honest. You need to do what you're going to do. And I gave him the whole little spiel, and then his text message back was, you're right, I'm sorry. I was like,
ooh, be careful. He's laying
hold
a
on.
trap.
No. Hold on. No, don't. Let me finish.
Okay.
You're right, I'm sorry. I just wasn't the blah, blah, blah. I was like, Michael, really? I was like, you can't go from one thing to the other when I know you're still sitting here thinking that you're going to say something to me that's going to, I went in on him. And it walked away from it. It was all through text message, of course, because he wouldn't answer his phone. And haven't heard anything about it since.
Yeah, it's interesting how they get really quiet, you know. But there'll be a cycle. If you have a manipulator in your world, okay, they will cycle through their styles of manipulation. Now again, manipulative people are not bad people. They're not human, they're not bad humans. There's no need for us to hate them and to criticize them. It's a mindset, is what it is. And I promise you, whether it be your brother or somebody else's mother or somebody else's husband or somebody else's best friend or whatever, it's all the same stuff. It's not that this is a bad person. It's that it is a mindset that is just, it's very difficult to deal with. And so if there's a way for us to separate the mindset from the human and go, hey bro, I love you, you're an awesome, I love you as a brother, but this whole thing that you bring to the table ain't gonna work. You know, to try to be able to separate that, because it can be hard. As opposed to, I hate you. It's like, no, you hate what they're doing. You don't hate them. Is that fair enough? So I just want to toss that out there, little disclaimer, okay? That these aren't bad people. We don't need to hate the people. It's just how they are thinking. And I promise you, it's because of the pictures that they have and the tools that they have learned to cope. It's all them trying to fit life into a fixed mindset. And you can read some of those things that come along with a fixed mindset here in the notes, and you'll go, oh yeah, boom, 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 oh, oops, I've done this, yep, I've done that, I've done that. We all have experience with it. And what we want to do is over here on the other side, begin to cultivate this growth mindset, this learning mindset. All right? Begin to cultivate that. So on the left side, if you see some of those phrases, you go, man, I really want to do that. That's what we need to begin doing. You need to begin talking to people that you feel have those different characteristics. How did you do that? I promise many of them will go, it's just kind of natural for me. And it is. They just kind of think that way a lot of times. But then from time to time, you will find people that have been able to break out of the fixed mindset and get into the growth mindset. Those are the folks that can really help you. They can help you navigate the transition, the transformation in your mind, which is where we need to be. They have been converted, all right? Which is a wonderful thing. Fair enough? So just wanted to start with that, because as we get into this first session here, we're talking about mindsets in the workplace. And we're going to spend 2, maybe 3 sessions talking about mindsets in the workplace. And the second page that we have here it kind of lays out what the different mindsets are. And then over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to unpack. All right, that's such a cheesy word. I'm sorry, I just had to use it. But we're going to actually dive into it and understand it a little bit better. All right, you're going to find yourself in these. You're going to find yourself predominantly in one of them. All right, a little bit in another one, maybe a little bit less in another one. Maybe I don't even have any idea what that thing is. But you're going to find yourself in this. All right, and the idea is, again, the idea is not to judge yourself and to get down and beat yourself up because, oh, I suck, I'm in this mindset, I don't want to be in this mindset. The idea, number one, is to be aware, I'm in it. And then when you begin to function and go to that mindset, you want to be able to go, ding, ding, wait a minute, that is the wrong mindset for me to have. If I go there, it's going to lead to these characteristics, which we're going to be identifying, all right? But if I can expand my mindset into the next level thinking, all right, this should be a book or something like that. If I can go to the next level, then there will be freedom in that next level. And not only is there freedom, but there's also more value. I bring more value to the earth when I go to the next level. And as we all know, where there is more value, there is more cash. Where there is more value, there is more money. The more value you can bring, the more promotion there is. The more promotion, the more money you can make at it, which is always a good thing. Fair enough? Okay, so what I call this thing is the production mindset principle. Production mindset principle simply says this: how you see the work getting done, how you picture the work getting done, will determine how much work you will actually be able to accomplish. It's all in the way that you picture it. For instance, you guys have all heard this phrase before. If you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. Okay? That is a classic way of thinking about it. However, it's limited. And if we think that way, it'll make life very difficult, especially as more and more responsibilities come into our world. If how I think has led to how I feel, has led to a belief system of if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself, then you can only do so much until all of a sudden you feel like your plate is full. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Oh my gosh, I've just got so much to do. It's just way too, anybody overwhelmed? I've just got so much to do. Again, the idea here is it's not learning how to actually become a wonderful plate manager. Move this over here, put that in there, and then when I get that done, I'm going to put it over here. Oh my gosh, I'm tired just thinking about it. This is all about expanding your plate. It's not about managing a small plate, it's about expanding your plate. So even though you've got all of this stuff going on, you now have a bigger plate, so you have the capacity to process all of it. Fair enough? How do we do that? How do we expand the plate so that we don't feel overwhelmed, so that we can get more and more and more produced? Fair enough? Mm-hmm. So you can see our pyramid here, kind of showing you the path that we're going to be taking. It all begins down at the bottom. This is where many, many, many people are, okay? Possibly 78% of the workforce. Maybe we're talking about that stat, yeah. Okay? Gallup poll will show you that. Actually, just even if you want to right now, if you have your phones with you, Google, all right, go to the Google and Google in 78% disengagement. And you'll have stuff come up all over the place. This is the statistic where we are right now. 8 out of 10 employees in America right now disengaged. 23% of that is actively disengaged. Yeah, don't really know what that means. It's almost like they wake up in the morning and going, what can I not do today? Or what can I get away with today?
Working in a big place, not like here, I feel like it's different, but working kind of like I worked at Alliance Data, which is a huge energy company.
You can hide.
Cubicle to cubicle to cubicle.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
How many people you know are like actually working and getting stuff done, and how many people are just clicking through, doing what they have to do, slow as they can.
Oh, yeah. I told you guys about the one company that now when they get up from their desk and go to the bathroom, they have to clock out. Did I tell you about that last week?
Uh-uh.
Okay, I thought I did. Yeah, it's a company I know. It's a tech company. And now they get paid for when they are working. But when they are not working, they don't get paid. Obviously, there was an issue. So now when they leave their desk, they have to clock out. Go to the bathroom, go get something to drink, clock out. When they come back, clock back in. And the reason why they went to this was because they found that there was a guy that was spending up to and beyond 3 hours a day in the bathroom.
What?
I believe that.
Yeah,
People
they just
do
sit
that.
there all the time.
Just kind of, going over here, doing
In the bathroom?
that. 3 hours a day. 3 hours, okay, that's like a part-time job. It's 15 hours that I'm spending away from my desk. 15 hours, okay, that's four times a month. How much are we, it's almost like a full work week that I'm paying this person, and they're not at their desk, so they had to go to this thing. So they become much more efficient now that people are having to clock out. And you can imagine that there's people going, I think I can hold on a little bit longer, on that thing.
That'd be me.
We do
I'd
that
be
here.
sitting there all
We do
day
that
long.
here
like,
anyway.
Another dollar.
Another dollar. Cha-ching. Yeah.
All of us here do that anyway.
We're
Yeah.
like,
I got it 3 hours ago. You said you had to pee, so
Yeah.
I'm gone. How you
Yeah.
feeling?
Very nice.